Frank Bonada here for LowKick MMA. With me today, once again, is Mr. Murdo Todd, and we're going to be breaking down UFC 281. How are you doing today, mate? What's you reading this card?
I'm doing
Surface read.
well. Yeah, it's a good card. A lot of good competitive fights in the undercard as well. Good main event. A good mix of fights that have different implications. So I think it's kind of it's got a bit of everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, if you follow the channel, you will have seen our own Mike Owens recently did a preview of this card with Brian Campbell. So they looked at the more sort of analytical side, but we're going to take a more of a sort of betting focus on this one. So normally it's a bit 50-50 with us, but this time we're going to focus on the betting side just so you've got two different forms of content. And with that said, let's get stuck into that main event. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Really interesting fight, isn't it? Like, the most intrigue for an opponent for Adesanya for quite some time, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, obviously the thing is the background, isn't it? Pereira's beaten him twice in the kickboxing scene and is also the only man to ever knock him out, which are pretty big accolades, I suppose. That being said, I still see this fight only going one way. What do you reckon, mate?
Um, you know, I think it's like who because it's good. I think it's going to be a striking battle. I don't think
Mm.
Adesanya is going to implement takedowns and stuff.
Be wild if you did.
It'd be. I think honestly, I think Pereira's like. I think he will present Adesanya problems because I think he's the biggest guy
Yeah.
that Adesanya's certainly faced. Certainly in the UFC,
Hmm.
Pereira's big, he's strong, he hits hard. And if you were actually talking kickboxing and striking, Pereira's got the better pedigree. He's a
Mm.
two-weight Glory World Champion, first to ever do so. Adesanya, yeah, competed in Glory, he never won a title. Um, yeah, I think I'm taking Pereira inside the distance. Um,
Oh,
I
really?
know
Wow.
yeah, I'm taking Pereira inside the distance,
Oh,
plus
wow.
250. Um, I'm not saying Adesanya can't get it done because he's like it's obviously MMA, it's a different sport, the gloves are
Mm.
different. You know, it does affect the way you strike, but I think it's time. It's like half vibes, half kind of Pereira, but yeah, I'm going Pereira inside the distance. Um, yeah,
Wow. Okay,
it's
right.
gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're on different sides straight from the jump because I've backed Adesanya. I've stuck him in a parlay. Um he's like, what is he, a minus 170 or something? I think that's what I got him at. Which I think is good odds for an Adesanya money line, pretty much regardless of the opponent, to be honest. I parlayed him with the co-main event. I mean, this is MMA now. It's a different game. Alex Pereira is obviously he's credentialed, but he is also 35. Um,
Yep.
yeah, he knocked out Sean Strickland, but like that was Sean Strickland going in there with the worst game plan we have ever seen. Who gonna walk down the 6'4" kickboxer with a monstrous left hand? Fucking ridiculous. Um, he wasn't able to do too much. Well, no, he did well against Bruno Silva, but like didn't finish him. I
No,
don't think he even knocked him down.
I,
Um, he definitely rocked
I'm not
him,
sure.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then obviously he knocked out Andreas Michailidis, but I mean, it's different levels to this game. Um, Adesanya just knows what he's doing. He's comfortable in the octagon, and he's such a evolved fighter as well. If you look at how he fights compared to those days on the Glory circuit, he is just a different fighter now. Um, and like I don't know, there are some interesting caveats like Pereira. The Adesanya's lost to Pereira, the knockout loss. That was his last kickboxing fight. He'd never fought in kickboxing again after that fight. Went straight to MMA. But since then, he's fought 24 times in professional MMA and become probably the best in the world right now in his weight category.
Mhm.
Um, and beaten some of the best in the world, some of the best up and comers and whatnot. I don't know. I just feel like he's got the game down to a T, and yeah, there's a chance that Pereira could catch him, but I just think I don't know. He's got too many tools to win this fight.
But I think that's what makes this a really great main event and
Yeah.
also a fun fight to bet on because that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a bit of fun to add to the whole thing. But I think it's what makes it great. It's like
Yeah.
Pereira is so he is so inexperienced in MMA, but he's looked like sensational at points, and we know what he's like in kickboxing. He does hold those wins over Adesanya. So there's like a lot of unknown going into it, which I think what makes it a great event. And there's all you can only speculate, and it's which pretty much all MMA media are doing up until this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but I think it's like it's got the interest of us, and I think it'll be a great. I think it's going to be intense. It's going to be one of those fights that you just like that feeling before the main event. I think it's really got this one. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, there's so much unknown. But yeah, I could see it going either way. Like just
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a vibes bet from me, but
no, fair enough. Fair enough.
I love it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I'm gonna have to debate whether staying up for it or catching it in the morning.
But I think it's like, see, I think it might be like one of the. I hope it's one of those like Leon Edwards come out of this moment, so I can kind of catch up on that last one stuff. But yeah, what a main event. If it's a striking battle, if it is striking and it's a good striking battle, we're going to be in for an absolute treat because these are the two of the best strikers in MMA. So yeah, really great one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Co-main event: Carla Esparza defending her strawweight title against Weili Zhang. Zhang's gonna just run through her, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little bit hesitant. The only thing that sort of makes me hesitate, right, is because this is the same sort of way I went into the way I was looking at Aljamain Sterling versus Piotr Jan 2. You know, I was just like, Jan's going to come in there, run through him, and then the wrestling prowess of Sterling made it so much closer than it was. And, you know, the result was controversial somewhat, but, you know, he made it so close that he managed to win a split decision. So that's the only thing that's getting me a little bit. But I just think the pure physicality of Zhang is something that Piotr Jan doesn't really possess to the same extent. The pure athletic physicality, I think, is just gonna, all she has to do is catch Esparza a few times. She's going out, like, surely.
Yeah, I think like Weili Zhang, she can keep the pace. She's powerful. She can, and her grappling's definitely improved a lot. But yeah, she's so much more explosive, and I think over 25 minutes, I think she'll be confident she can catch Esparza. Esparza on the feet, I think it's one of those things. She doesn't have the power and the explosiveness to kind of keep Zhang honest, to kind of keep her off her a little bit. So yeah, I do see Zhang kind of walking through this one. Inside the distance, I think is -110. I think she's -400 straight. So I think I might be taking the inside the distance. I think it's not a bad one, to be honest. Maybe by KO if your bookmaker provides it. I think is a good one as well. And that'll probably be about maybe just above even money or so.
What I went for, I parlayed Adesanya at -170 and Weili Zhang at -350.
What's that?
It comes in just over evens. Like, I don't know, like +100 or something.
I think if you want to put Weili Zhang in a few parlays, I think that's not a bad shout, to be honest.
I agree. And yeah, like you say, even a straight bet on her inside the distance. I just think over 5 rounds, you know, she's shown that she can fight competitively for 5 rounds. And there is just, I don't know, it's just such a disparity, I feel like, in power and raw physicality that and now that Zhang is putting those skills, pairing the skills with the physicality, I just think she can go out there and just blitz her. And like, even if she doesn't finish Esparza, I think that she's going to have massive round-winning moments. That maybe see her pick up 10-8s and whatnot, like, or just dominate rounds, knock her down, and you know, Yeah,
Do you like
yeah.
the do you like any unders in this or
I don't like playing unders on women's fights typically. You know what though?
under 4.5? Like, well,
Yeah, under four
not
and a
really.
half at -125. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not
That is
bad.
not bad.
Yeah,
It's definitely useful. I think if you're interested in yeah. I think it depends on your betting style and what you like. But I don't think that's too bad. -125
yeah.
for under four and
Oh,
a half.
that's not bad. Uh, yeah. I mean, like, rather than betting Zhang inside the distance at -110, just bet under four and a half at -125.
Yeah, I don't think
Just
that's a bad shout.
the slight chance that Esparza locks up a sub or something. Um, well, she might take the back. Like, she
Yeah,
subbed Rose, remember? Um, yeah, good
I
fight.
don't see it happening. No.
And
Yeah,
if do I, like I say, yeah, the only action right now I've
I
got is
think
a
I
parlay
hope
with Izzy, but go on.
I think we might see a bit of action in this fight though, which would be useful.
Yeah. I
I
think
don't think
Zhang
it'll
is going to
be
show some action. Yeah, going to
so.
force something.
Zhang's exciting to watch, which I know people might be put off with as far as
Mm.
his last fight, but I think it'll be. I think this will be an okay one to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, well, she loves a good scramble. That's something that could be interesting in this fight because Esparza is going to go for takedowns, and whereas Rose sort of prefers to like play a bit more of a guard game, sort of jiu-jitsu off her back, whatnot. Zhang, she's trained by wrestlers. She trains with Cejudo at the moment. But she did for a last camp. I think she's still there at Fight Ready. I'm not certain though. But yeah, she I don't know, she has that sort of athleticism that allows her to scramble and create interesting sequences on the ground. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of interest in there. Let's move on to the people's main event of the night. What a fight. Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, lightweight fight.
Oh,
Yeah, brilliant. It really is. Just two high level action fighters who consistently go out there and put on just excellent displays of violence. We've got Poirier's right now. The line has widened quite a bit since the start of the week because I think Poirier is -163 start of the week now -210. Chandler coming as a +175 underdog. Do you have a side?
sorry, Steve. Oh. I do have a side. Um, I think Michael Chandler's going to get pieced up. To be honest, I think like Michael Chandler likes to use his hand, but I don't think his boxing's that good, and I don't think it's on. I don't think it's near the level of Poirier's, and I think
Yeah,
Chandler gets hit way too much. He's been dropped. He got dropped against Ferguson, and I think with how
yeah.
Ferguson's looked recently, that's not good. Uh, yeah, I think, and when we've seen him hurt, Poirier's a good finisher. He knows how to finish. He's going to stay on you. Chandler's also always got a puncher's chance, and he's very explosive and athletic, and he's a great wrestler. But is he going to implement that? Probably not.
Mm,
I think he'll want to stay and put on a show and
yeah.
have it out. And I think that'll play right into Dustin Poirier's hand. I think he'll be the matador. Chandler will be the bull, and I think he'll take him out. I really see Chandler overextending and Poirier clipping him, to be honest, and wobbling him and taking him out. So yeah, Chandler inside. Sorry, Poirier inside the distance, +120. That's what I'll be taking. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I'm in the same boat in terms of like I'm backing Poirier to win this fight. I wish I'd taken that -163 or whatever it was at the start of the week, but yeah, I let that slip. What I've done instead, I've parlayed Poirier at what's he now? -210 with Christian Duncan, who is fighting on Cage Warriors for the middleweight title this weekend. Um, I mean, he's like an incredible fighter who I think is probably going to be in the UFC very soon. Um, those two, he's -500, but those two parlayed together comes out just under even money. So yeah, I'll take that on Poirier. The thing is, Chandler is so explosive that one punch or kick in Ferguson's case can change everything. So like, I don't think I'm ever going to bet massive money against him just because until he like starts like his durability starts going. It's just because I don't know. He's one of those super athletes, just like Zhang as well. Like who I don't know. It's very hard to completely count them out. But
Yeah,
I do like skill for skill. I definitely like Poirier. I reckon he can chew up that lead leg. Gaethje had
yeah,
a lot of luck with the leg kicks and kind of like abandoned it later on in the fight. Um, and yeah, I do think, like you said, the boxing I think is just gonna piece Chandler up, and I feel like once the fight starts going Poirier's way, it's just gonna increase. Like his
yeah,
momentum is gonna increase, and yeah, maybe a late stoppage. Um, but I think regardless, it's gonna be like fireworks. It's gonna be an incredible fight.
yeah,
Poirier probably will get rocked at some point. He probably will do.
yeah. I think
Like,
so. I can see it.
um, but I also think, I like him to land more strikes, to land more accumulative damage, and yeah, and to pick up a, like I said, a late stoppage or a decision victory.
I don't mind the under 2.5 either. I
So
think it's minus
I took that
minus
on
175 now.
I took that on Gaethje versus Chandler, and it was just like Jesus Christ, this is
It's
ridiculous.
it's like the Rockhold. Like I took it on the Rockhold
Yeah,
cost.
Costa fight,
Why
yeah.
wouldn't you? And because you think with these ones, but there is it is the most logical way to go. I
Mm,
think it is smart because both of these guys they are getting older a bit.
yeah.
Chandler's 35 now. I think Poirier's 33. They've been through the trenches.
Chandler's
Chandler
36.
is,
Yeah.
these things do catch up to you, and you always find that someone has a great chin and can take a punch until they can. Like Ferguson, it
Mm,
happens in these ones. I could like, and Poirier we've seen Poirier get stopped, by Michael Johnson if he gets a bit too confident, gets clipped by something. So yeah, minus 175 for the under, but I also like the Poirier inside the distance, plus 120. Maybe grabs a guillotine or something like that. Chandler
yeah,
panic shoots or something.
maybe. Um, Next up, we have the retirement fight of former UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar, obviously now fighting all the way down at bantamweight. Well, let me check. Is he still the smaller fighter? That's be fucking hilarious. Yeah, still the
He's
smaller fighter.
isn't it mad that he won it? Like I look at the lightweights now, like Jalen Turner or even like
Yeah.
Chandler. They're like the size of these guys, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh
Obviously Edgar is now 4-1 in his last 5 fights, which is a bit rough. I thought he looked okay against Vera, like
yeah,
early on, like some nice like sort of swarming and stuff. But um, I mean, Marlon Vera is a beast. Like the way he fights, he just has big moments, and if you are durable, sorry, if your durability is in question, he will have big moments against you. He will rock you or stun you. And in Frankie Edgar's case, he got front kicked in the face. Obviously prior to that was the flying knee against Sanhagen. But then he does go the full, I think it was 5 rounds against Pedro Munoz, right?
yeah. He
Um,
won. He beats Munoz by split decision.
yeah, and that was the full 5 rounds, is what I mean. Like
Yeah.
his durability held
Oh
up in
right.
that
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a tough one, right? Gutierrez is a guy on the come up. I'm a big fan of him. Great kicks, really, really good kicks. Trains with he's Factory X, I think, right? With like Jonathan Martinez and then guys. I think that's the gym. Um, yeah, he's on a nice sort of undefeated streak right now. With that spinning back fist slash elbow over back grill than our last time, which was sort of like the I don't know, that's the one that threw him into contention with the top 15. Edgar is the underdog. I don't have a side. I'm probably not going to take a side, but I know Murdo is backing one fight on
I'm
this one.
rocking. I'm rocking with the legends. I'm rocking with plus 175. Frankie Edgar. I like it, man. I think. Listen, he's experienced. He's fought at such a high level, and I know he's lost, but his last 5 losses: Marlon Vera, Corey Sandhagen, Chan Sung Jung, Max Holloway, Brian Ortega. So it's like he's not losing against chumps, and
Mm,
and Gutierrez has not even fought anywhere near that level. And as you say, he looked good against Marlon Vera. I mean, I think good enough to beat Chris Gutierrez. I think he's got the clear wrestling advantage here as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe a bit of nostalgia, maybe because he's a legend, but the wrestling I think could play a big into this. So I'm taking Frankie Edgar plus 175.
I mean, I don't blame you, but there is a 10-year age discrepancy.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
It's just I don't know. I would love to. I'm a huge Frank Edgar fan. Like, he was one of the sort of guys I was a big fan of when I first got into MMA, but partly just because we sort of basically share a first name, and I was like, oh yeah, Frankie Edgar, that's my guy. But I don't know. I feel like he's just dropped off so much, and let's be honest, he probably lost the fight to Munoz as well. I
Yeah.
I would love to, but I can't. I'm just going to stay away from this one. And the thing is, I'm also a huge Gutierrez fan as well. That's another reason why I'm not really. If I
Yeah.
hated Gutierrez or I wasn't a fan of his fighting style or anything like that, maybe I'd take like a small nostalgia bet on Edgar, at underdog money. But I like how he. Go on.
Sorry. Sometimes I also look at fights like these where it's like when the promotion clearly wants someone to win, like
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar, they're gonna give him a more favorable matchup. They're
Yeah.
I don't think like there's some bouts where there's some thought going into this. They're not like just. I know sometimes the UFC just makes the stupidest matchups ever, especially against like older guys. But
Yeah, yeah.
Frankie Edgar probably looked at this and thought it's all right for me,
Mm.
and it's a good way for him to retire. It makes sense near his home. So yeah, I think that also plays into it. So yeah,
They
I
should
like
have done
Frankie
Cruz
Edgar.
though. Cruz was the fight to make.
Yeah, I mean they're of course never going to make everything that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Or a Sunsell. Cruz or a
yeah,
Sunsell. Like, but yeah. Yeah. The thing is, I guess it's kind of like a win-win for the UFC because if Gutierrez wins, they make a bit of a star off Edgar's name or break into
yeah,
the top 15. But if Edgar wins, the MSG crowd are gonna go wild. And it kind of like it's a good look for them to like
good
yeah.
way to send out a legend.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, no action. But
It will be heartbreaking if
man,
Frankie Edgar loses. I'm not.
you know what? If he loses like in a competitive decision, fine.
Yeah,
But
like
if he
rocks him a bit, like sticks it on
yeah
him, and you're like, yeah,
wins one round and Gutierrez gets two, one of them's pretty clear, something like that,
yeah.
fine. But if Gutierrez just wipes him out,
Oh,
because he might just head kick him, or he
I wouldn't
might
shock
break
me.
his leg. He might like just because he loves low calf kicks.
Yeah, please
Oh,
don't put a lot of money. If you're going to bet on Frankie, please don't put a lot of money on it. Please.
right. Well, I mean, look, I think that's a bit of a stupid bet for you, but we're
Oh,
moving on. We're moving on.
100%
Look,
agree.
I've got my own sort of parallel to that one because next up is Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles, and I've got to ride with my guy Dan Hooker. He's just, I don't know, just such a cool guy who like I love his mentality to fighting. Um and he is good as well. You
Yeah.
know what? I'm gonna make like most of the arguments that you were just making in favor of Frankie Edgar for Dan Hooker, but literally their last 5 fights, both of them, Edgar and Hooker, basically replicate each other because they're both 1-4, both lost their last 2 fights, and then won one and then lost the other two. Yeah, they've been fighting. Well, he's been fighting against killers. Obviously, Arnold Allen down at featherweight never should have done that. Yeah. Well, I've heard his reasoning behind it, and it kind of makes sense because it was like basically he saw an opportunity where he could like instantly throw himself into the top 5 of the division. So when the division, featherweight is a bit in like I don't know, a stalemate right now. Nothing's really happening. So
what was he going to do? Fight Alexander Volkanovski?
he said he would. He said he would. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. At least we get teammates fighting each other. See
Yeah.
that carry on.
So yeah, Dan Hooker fighting Puelles. Puelles is the sort of rising star. He's the knee bar king. Has looked really good. I can't lie, I've been very impressed with him so far in his career. Obviously Niebard, both Clay Guida and Chris Gritzmacher in his last two fights. And yeah, wins over Jordan Levitt, Marcus Moriano even. He's looked good, but the level of opposition isn't as high as someone like Dan Hooker. It's not. Like Dan Hooker has lost a bunch of fights, but like we said, like they're all top 5 opponents. And when he did go and fight a guy who's not quite in the top 15, Nasrat Haqparast, he goes and puts a 3-round beating on him. So yeah, I don't know. I I fancy his chances in that, like, I think on the feet, I think he can piece Puelles up. Um, the only thing that sort of gives me a little bit of worry is that Hooker does like to mix in takedowns every now and then. And if he goes to the ground with Puelles, he's just going to start rolling for knee bars and whatnot. And Hooker's so lanky that it's just that those long legs are just going to get caught. And I don't know. That worries me a little bit. But yeah, I am taking a little sprinkle on Dan Hooker by decision. I think it's plus 200.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I sided with Dan Hooker. I was saying to you earlier, I think it's like he's back at a level which is he'd be competitive and comfortable at. I think it's like the Haskarab one. I think it'll be no, maybe not. I think it'll be closer, but I think it's like he'll be more comfortable. But yeah, I don't mind Dan Hooker by decision. Um, when was the last time he won by KO? A while ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Gilbert Burns, maybe. I can't.
James Vick,
Uh, yeah, who wasn't
who
one?
hasn't knocked out James Vick. But yeah, I think Dan Hooker by decision. Um, I also think it's that when you like a fighter, when you're a fan of one,
Hmm.
you always read into it more. I think
Yeah,
you like because you're more. I think you're more acutely aware of like what they're not very good at and stuff.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. I think it's like I say that it could be one of those like really sad stories. It's like
Hmm.
you just this is it. But I think I back Dan. I believe in Dan Hook to be back to where he's at and win this. And kind of maybe
It
hopefully pick up a couple wins.
it is one of those where if he loses,
Yeah,
that's it, isn't it? Like, you're no longer top 15 at that point. Like,
no.
I don't know. Yeah, rough. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm going very light. I might actually I haven't pulled the trigger yet and bet because um I see a lot of like cappers on like Twitter and whatnot backing Puelles in this fight. So I'm wondering if the line will get a bit closer. In fact, it already has a little bit, I think. Um, yeah, so I might wait until like fight day or the day before the fight and see if it's closed a little bit more. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely going to sprinkle a little bit, not much. Yeah, probably Dan Hooker by decision. Though if the line gets to like, I don't know, if it gets to like minus 120, minus 130, something like that, I might just take a straight money line bet. Um, no action for you on that one though.
Um, I was thinking about maybe parlaying Dan Hooker, but I'm not.
Oh,
Um,
I wouldn't parlay Dan Hooker.
do you know what? It's bad. I always like to get mine at least even money. It's a really bad habit,
That is a
but
bad habit, yeah.
it is. But it's like I don't know. I might. Yeah, I think I would side with Dan Hooker. I'll see what like. I usually have like a like some leftover picks at the end of
Yeah,
the week, and I'll just kind of like
yeah.
smash them together, and
Well, I
that's how I
mean,
go.
what I was looking at earlier, the CKB parlay, Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker, Brad Riddell, Carlos Holberg parlayed together.
It's
Um,
all see with betting in the first fight though. To lose is just heartbreaking for the rest of the night. You know what I mean?
yeah, of course. I mean, like that's not. I don't know. I probably wouldn't put anything on it, but I like the idea of like
What's
a gimmick bet. Like,
what's the odds on that? Let's see.
it was like plus 750 or something like that.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not maybe worth it. Worth
But
at least the average.
I'm guessing your issue is that you're not a fan of Brad Riddell, which is our next fight. Brad Riddell taking on Hinata Moicano.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with Moicano in this one. I think he looked pretty decent when he stepped in a couple of days' notice against RDA. Yeah, I just I like him in this matchup. To be honest, I like him against Brad Riddell. I think Brad Riddell did not look very good against Turner last fight out. Um, and he got stopped by Fiziev. I'm siding with Moicano on this one. I won't be putting any action in it. I think it'll be a good close fight. Good to watch, maybe not so good to bet on, but I'm not counting Brad Riddell out. I'm siding with Moicano on this one.
For me, I'm on Riddell's side. I'm a big fan of Riddell. I think he is a very talented fighter. Like he likes a scrap, which is maybe to his detriment sometimes. But I don't know. I think he's a very good fighter. I think his kickboxing is nice. I think his defensive wrestling is very good. And also I think Renato Moicano's like his durability is questionable. He's coming off that 5 round beating from RDA that was just like ruthless. And we've seen guys like Tony Ferguson crumble after a 5 round beating. Moicano is 33 going on 34. He was also knocked out by Fiziev, something that both Riddell and Moicano have in common. But the thing is, Riddell went the full 3 round, well, almost the full 3 rounds until he was hit by a fucking wheel kick. Whereas Moicano was just like iced in the first round with a left hook. Yeah, I think Riddell can definitely outstrike Moicano on the feet. I think Moicano's best path to victory is sort of like the fight goes to the ground, taking Riddell's back and grabbing the sub. But I don't know. I think the kickboxing prowess of Riddell will be enough to see him coast on the feet. And I think if he connects well with Moicano's jaw, I think he can drop him. And Moicano's not a great takedown artist. Like he's quite big and he can like latch onto you very well, as we did to Jai Herbert. But yeah, I don't know. I do think Riddell has this one in the bag. It's not just because I'm a fan of Riddell. Because I'm a fan of Riddell, I looked into this fight more, and then all I've seen is it makes me think that he's going to win. So yeah, I've taken a straight bet. I think it is my only straight bet I've actually put down so far. It is Brad Riddell's money line, which is plus 100. Yeah, right with my guy.
I'm surprised he was the underdog in this one.
Me too.
But yeah, Brad Riddell plus 100 is not too bad. Moicano was seeing him at minus 125.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like any of the unders or anything in this?
Nah, like I said, like I think Riddell could crack him, but like
You wouldn't count on it.
yeah, like I don't know. Moicano sort of likes to fight sort of ranger kickboxing style, and like maybe he avoids significant damage, but still feel he gets like outstruck. So yeah, I think just Riddell plus money, happy with that.
Should be a good one though. Should be a good fight.
I agree. One fight I wouldn't mind the under in Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann. This is a great little fight to be honest. Like one
Right.
that's sort of getting this could probably should be on the main card. Like
Is it not?
nah, prelims, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was.
I think Riddell versus Moicano is the feature
The
prelim.
feature.
Yeah. And then Reyes, they might mix it up as it gets closer. But yeah, I mean, obviously Reyes pretty much beat John Jones, like, and then obviously got sparked by Yuri, which was ruthless. But yeah, I he's a favorite, and I think he should be, to be honest. I think Ryan Spann always comes up short. Just like he's very good, probably good enough to be a top 15 fighter, but whenever he starts fighting that upper echelon, you know, the elite of the elite, I think he comes up short. So yeah, I'm pretty confident in Dominic Reyes in this one. What about you?
Yeah, I kind of have the same sentiment as you. Like Ryan Spann he's good at fighting maybe like the top 15, top 10, that kind of level.
Mm.
But anything below that, I think he'll struggle with. But my only worry is that Reyes is coming off two pretty brutal knockouts. I know they were a while
Oh,
ago.
yeah, he got knocked out by
Um,
Blachowicz as well, didn't he? I forgot
yeah,
about that one. Yeah.
and it's one of these things. It's like it's either Reyes comes in and he's like brand new, he's
Mm,
back, or it's like one of these awful stories that you hear of as someone has a really bad skid and kind
yeah.
of isn't the same again. But I believe in Reyes, just like we're saying with Dan Hooker, and he'll come back. I think honestly he'll stop Ryan Spann because before the kind of John Jones fight, we were looking at Reyes like, whoa, who is
Mm,
this guy? You know? And I'm hoping, and I think he can get back to that kind of that level. So yeah, Dominic Reyes inside the distance is plus 100. If money line is minus 220. Under 2.5 is minus 225. So people are kind of on the same line as us. But yeah, I think this fight doesn't go the distance, and I think Reyes probably gets it done inside the distance. So Reyes plus 100 inside the distance, and then minus 225 for the under 2.5.
Yeah, I might take his IGD. I'm not sure yet, but I have stuck him in another Cage Warriors parlay. Luke Riley and Adam Cullen, both next gen guys from Paddy Pimblett's gym. They're both absolute savages, and they're fighting people who they really shouldn't be in there with. They're both minus 1,000, so those two parlayed together with Dominic Reyes. It gives me about I think it was minus 120 or something. So I'll take that. Yeah, I just I don't know. I think Reyes is a better athlete. I think he hits harder. I think Spann is probably less durable, even though obviously Reyes has been knocked out. Blachowicz and Yuri, they are. I think they're just I don't know. They have that something else that the Spann just doesn't really have. I don't know. I think there's just a deficit of talent for Ryan Spann that he relies on is just natural power, like so many other light heavyweights do.
Yeah.
I think it's only so far that I can take you. So yeah, I feel fairly confident with Reyes. I might take the inside the distance as well, to be honest.
Yeah, what I worry about his chin a little bit, and I kind of how he kind of reacts to being back in. But yeah, I mean, I kind of he's one of the more comfortable picks I have on the card, but there is always that worry on this one.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a bit of a rough one up next, isn't it? Erin Blanchfield, Molly McCann. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're both from the UK, sort of want to support Molly, considering she did so well in the back-to-back London cards, 2 spinning elbows. But I mean, let's be honest, both those fights were against sort of a lower level of competition, and now they've decided to match her up with a top 15 fighter, and they've given her one of the worst style matchups there is in Erin Blanchfield, who I rate Blanchfield very highly. I have done for pretty much since she's come into the UFC. And I think it's going to be a rough night for Molly.
Yeah, whoever made this fight is an idiot. Just want to put that out there. It's just so stupid and pointless. What a stupid fight. Erin Blanchfield's really good. I was just saying that Miranda Maverick wins looking even better now.
Yeah.
She's undefeated in the UFC. I think stylistically not good for Molly. Molly can hurt you, which is she has that ability, which not a lot of female flyweights do. But yeah, she's plus 300 for a reason. I might take a stab just for the crack and just for the support, but it's it's not a good. It's bizarre that she's not fighting and with Paddy and all that kind of stuff. I don't know I don't really know what's happened, to be honest, because I don't know if she was just annoying people too much about press conference or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know for this matchup.
They might be trying to build Paddy as
separately.
As his own star. Maybe they think that Molly's sort of gonna hit a ceiling, and they want to build him as his own sort of separate entity. I don't know. Obviously, if Molly beats Blanchfield, amazing. She shoots into the top 10, probably one fight away from a title shot, the way that division is.
And then you can't say anything as well, really. You can't really have that same criticism. So
the thing is, though, is those last 2 wins, I just I don't know, Hannah Goldie especially, she's tiny and not very good.
Yeah. She grabbed a hold of McCann a few points as well. Or am I making that up? And it was
kind of tied her up a little bit, I think, but nothing of note. Yeah, I don't know.
I just, I mean, there's so many other fights they could have made, really. Do you know what I
I
mean?
think they should have done Calvillo. Cynthia Calvillo versus Molly McCann would have been the one to make, or Andrea Lee, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Uh, yeah,
It's not.
I'm not
It's
gonna
a
put
bit
any
of a
I'm not gonna put any
no,
money on Molly, to be honest. Yeah, I'm
and
just not. That's the thing, like Blanchfield's one of those fighters who I've followed for a minute now, and I've liked seeing it. I've liked watching her rise up, and
yeah, maybe what users a parlay piece minus 400.
yeah, I might have actually stuck her in with another cage fight. Yeah, Aaron Abbey from Wrexham's Own, um, who's a minus 160. Parlayed him with Blanchfield for a nice little sorry, plus 110 or something. But like that's like pennies on that, nothing of note. Yeah, pretty much I'm staying away from the fight. Like I've got that tiny little parlay, but it's not really one that yeah. Um, I don't know. Maybe take Blanchfield inside the distance. Finished her last fight with that sort of nice standing guillotine. And I think if she gets on top of Molly, she can just do what she wants, to be honest.
Yeah,
This is a woman who controlled Miranda Maverick for 3 rounds, 10-8'd her. Miranda Maverick's an excellent wrestler. So yeah, I think Aaron's just gonna.
who does the flyweight women's matchups?
I have no idea. Uh don't they cut it so
Because it's the
oh
lighter weights, and then but then
yeah.
I don't know if they get the women's weights as
Yeah,
well.
I'm not certain actually. Unless they have someone else who does it. I don't
Must have
know.
been my guy must have been sick that day. This
Yeah,
is an oh, I mean, it's such a bad match.
it's
Such a bad
rough.
match.
Um
Um,
I've got nothing really to say about Andrei Petrosky versus Wellington Turman. Have you got a side or anything like that?
um, I'd side with Petrosky. Not going to
Mm.
have any money on it. I think if I was going to bet, it would be Petrosky, who is sitting at minus 188. Yeah, I think I'd pick him in this one. I think he'll
Mm.
probably get the win, but
I quite like Petrosky.
I
Yeah.
might put him in a parlay or something like that. Yeah, might Petrosky minus 188. What is the next one?
Azaitar versus Matt Frovola. Otman Azaitar, who obviously had that controversy with the bag potatoes over in Abu Dhabi. And then Matt Frovola, who's somewhat a fan favorite. Brilliant picture on Tapology. I don't know if you can see it. He's wearing a cowboy hat and a fur-lined leather jacket.
No top underneath either.
Yeah. um, yeah, this is one that we're speaking off camera about this one, but Azaitar opened as a underdog. I probably would have taken like if it was. I don't know. Yeah, I missed the boat on that one, to be honest. I'm probably going to stay away from the fight now.
Yeah,
Um, Good fight. A lot of violence, I imagine. Are you
yeah.
backing one side or the other?
I'd maybe side with the Zaitar, maybe a bit more explosive.
Yeah.
But Favola can probably cause him issues with the wrestling.
Mm.
I'm gonna stay away with it. I think,
Do you know what? The under is probably a good shout on that one, to be honest. Uh, we haven't got
yeah,
lines out for it yet, but
of course not.
of course, no. Yeah,
But
fucking UK
and
lines.
Zaitar is sitting minus 125, and then Favola's plus 100. But I reckon it'd be a close one.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Zaitar's got like stupid amounts of first round KOs.
Oh, it
It's
hits
ridiculous.
so hard. Yeah.
And Frivola's he's been clipped before, so
Yeah, he got
um,
knocked out by McKinney in like 10 seconds or something, wasn't it?
yeah.
Interesting fight still. I might take the inside the distance, to be honest. Karolina Kopkiewicz versus Silvana Gomez Juarez. Spoke about this off camera. You said you might be fading Carolina at this point.
Yeah, she's just, I mean, she's not had a very good run of it. I know she won her last fight, but
Yeah.
before that, it was five in a row, and then she'd won two, and it was two in a row before that.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Gomez Juarez maybe has a decent shot in here. She's not looked too bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's nothing I'm like huge. I would not bet on this like at all. I
Mm.
think they're both. It's a pick 'em fight. Kovacevic got the experience, but she is older now. I think she's like 37.
Yeah.
Yeah, 37. I think at this point, I'd probably side with Gomez Juarez just because of the
She's the
age and where she's at. So
Juarez is the armbar specialist, isn't she? Yeah, just
so
I mean, like her. Oh, maybe she. Oh no,
I
she's
think
not.
I've
She's not.
seen. I think she's
No,
got
no,
decent
no.
striking as well.
Yeah, no, she's the fucking crazy knockout artist. Sorry, no. Her last fight against Na Liang was the armbar specialist. Yeah. No, she just goes out there and you know what? Oh no, I don't know. Maybe
Ah,
Gomez Suarez inside the distance might be because like obviously Carolina's 37.
washed,
Lost
well washed.
was she knocked out in any of those? Only by
Yeah.
Andrade.
Oh no, no.
Yeah, Andrade
Andrade.
not knocked her out, but like that's Andrade. Yeah. Nah, you know what? I'm just gonna stay away from it. Because the thing is, like,
Yeah.
normally a fight with Carolina in, I might be tempted to take the over, like over 1.5, over 2.5, maybe even for a parlay piece. But when you're fighting with someone who's got like legit knockout power,
Yeah.
nah, yeah, I'm just gonna stay away
And at
from it.
that age as well, it's not,
Mm.
you know. Um, anything else?
Uh,
Touch on?
yeah, Trezano versus Sung Choi. Not betting on it, but fun fight. I like Choi a lot. Um,
Yep.
Julio Arce versus Montel Jackson. I haven't even taped it. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. And then obviously Carlos Elberg from CKB versus Nikolai Negamarianu. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. Elberg's not really impressed me, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I know he's coming off wins over Sharon and Chukwu, but I don't know. Just looked a bit meh, meh.
There's not much that like when you look at these guys, it's not much that like you're like, wow. In fact, they don't
Mm.
like hugely stand out from each other. I'd probably side with Wilberg. I think he's been a little they've kind of fought at similar levels, and I think Wilberg's kind of had the better results, but it's a
Negamarianu's last fight against Pereira, it looked really good. I've been really like unimpressed with him, even though he was winning prior to that one. But the his last fight, I did think he looked good. Um, there is going to be a decent height discrepancy. Elberg's 6'4", Negamarianu is 6 foot. Mm, yeah, I don't know. Probably won't. Maybe might do the CKB parlay.
yeah.
I might throw that together. To be
For a
fair.
bit of crack, I think it's
Yeah,
not too bad. But yeah, I think all in all, pretty decent card. I think
that's a great card.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of lot of close fights on it. It is missing a really unskilled heavyweight fight right in the middle of the main event, though. That is why it's missing. But
You
aside
know,
from that,
I was wondering if they might, because obviously Chase Sherman versus Josh Parisian fell off last weekend's fight night card. I was like, are they just going to bump it onto the main card of UFC 281?
they're like Josh Parisian and Jay. They're like the same fighters. Do you know what I mean? Like all those. There's like a group of guys who are like
Yeah,
you are all the same. It's
yeah.
like, oh man.
There's a few of them, yeah. Parker Porter, Jared Vanderer, yeah, a few of them in there.
I think Chase Sherman lost in BKFC. I think that's all you really need to say.
Yeah. But yeah, no, honestly, especially like no, you know what? Even the like prelims are good. Like it's not
Yeah,
even like I was gonna say like, oh, once you get to the main card, it's amazing. But like, nah, like it is there's solid matchups from top to bottom, to be honest. Like we sort of glossed over Sungwoo Choi versus Mike Trezano, but that will be a great kickboxing
yeah,
fight. It really will be. Like I'm not gonna bet on it, but like it will be. And you know, Olberg versus Negamariano, that could well be fun. Like it could
yeah.
descend into violence, and obviously the UFC
As
is
it
going to build Olberg into something. So
Frivola, I think that'll be a good fight.
oh,
I think
that'd be wild.
there's a lot of names that maybe like the masses won't be too familiar with, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of really good entertaining fights. I mean, I hope there will be because that's what I said for 280, and a lot of that was rubbish. But
yeah.
I feel, yeah, I think there should be some good moments in here.
How was 280 so bad? I don't understand that. Like,
It had all the ingredients, and it was just, but that's what
yeah,
it's always, you can never tell with these things
no, you really
because
can't.
it's like with Poirier and Chandler. Like we're all like, oh, that could be fight of the night. It could well be rubbish.
Oh,
Like it
come
wouldn't.
on, nah.
Do you know what? It could well be right, actually.
We'll see.
But there's some fights that you just expect. But there's some really good fights, man. I like
Yeah.
Reyes. Reyes back. Moicano's always in decent scraps.
Cameron's
And the
getting
main
knocked out.
event.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant.
The dethroning.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we should start doing like post-fight recaps or something as well.
Yeah.
That would be funny to do after like, comparing the bets and whatnot. Like,
Oh yeah.
all right. Well, that's us done for today. Yeah, it is a great card. I hope it lives up to all it seems to be. Go follow myself and Murdo on our socials and whatnot. I think it's just Murdo Todd, Frank Bonada. Follow the site, drop us a subscribe. You know, the site is steadily growing, getting bigger and bigger interviews on all the time. And if you want a more sort of in-depth fight breakdown of this card, go check out our preview with Brian Campbell from Morning Combat. And join us next week where we'll be breaking down some random UFC fight night card. Lewis versus Spivak. What a card.
Oh no.
Thank you very much for watching.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.